many times have people told you when you're applying to college that colleges don't want a well-rounded student, they want a well-rounded class? Well, that's great, but most people are kind of well-rounded. So today, I'm going to teach you how to create a spike as an average/well-rounded student. The first thing you need to remember when creating a spike as an average student is that what you apply as is not your major. Now, I'm not telling you to lie. As you can see, I've written that here. Please don't lie. And if you do lie, don't tell everyone that College Chingu told you to lie, because I'm telling you here, don't lie. However, if you are interested in, say, for example, chemistry, don't apply as a chemistry major, because that to them is not special. You need to have a sub-interest within chemistry. Now, if you have an AP chemistry score of 4 or 5, you have chem experience, like lab experience or research experience, all you need to do is choose some sort of subspecialty. Just say you like chemistry and statistics. Let's just say you like chemistry and, I don't know, pharmacology. You only need one thing to link in a subgroup like this. Take the bigger one and make it into a smaller one. You just need to link it with 1 or 2 things to make it interdisciplinary, which is something you can write about, which is great for liberal arts colleges. I have no idea if I spelled that right. There's a lot going on my screen right now. This is going to help you seem more specific. And this is the thing. What you apply as is not your major. What I'm saying here is that if you get to college and you're like, you know what, I do want to be just a pure chem major. That's fine. You can do that. They're not going to be angry. They're not going to be like, oh my God, this person wanted to do stats and they're only going to take 2 stats classes during chemistry. They're not going to go and do biostats, whatever. They really don't care. You can change it up. What you apply as is not your major. Actually, I realize what I've been explaining is actually B, which is the don't be afraid to make leaps in terms of the just choosing a sub-interest. In terms of A, focus on your past successes. So for example, if you're interested in physics, all your extracurriculars in high school, because you lived in a city where this was convenient, let's say Washington, D.C., have to do with politics. You have a great portfolio for political science. You know what you're going to say you want to major in? Political science. It's kind of lying. I know I say don't lie here, but to me this would be making a leap. Okay, because also, if all of your extracurriculars are in one thing, you're probably going to want to study it, right? Yeah, I say don't lie, but don't be afraid to make leaps. This would not be a bad leap, is what I'm saying. If all of your extracurriculars are in a certain subject, and then at the last minute you decide, like, it's senior fall, and you take a physics class, and you fall in love with it, do not apply as a physics major, unless you somehow also have the extracurriculars for that. And to reiterate, the most important piece of advice would be this here, which is the choosing a subspecialty within a larger thing you're interested in, because again, they don't care about chemistry majors, they care about something more specific, which is so crazy about it, what they want. So you got to play the game a little bit. So let's play the game. Theme and narrative. I had a pre-med student once. This pre-med student had volunteered. I think it's up on my channel, actually. You can go look at their profile. They had volunteered at their old public school teaching robotics. They were volunteer ER tech. They were also the head of the GLSBT. That's what they called it at the time. I don't know what they call it anymore, honestly. I'm kind of out of it. Affinity group. Now, you might be thinking these things are all so different. How is this person going to take robotics and being the head of an affinity group and combining it into pre-med? Their whole essay, which is also up on my channel, by the way, I posted it last week, is all about authenticity and how it takes authenticity to help other people. The affinity group thing is kind of self-explanatory, how that would be about authenticity. But the robotics thing was also about authenticity, because the student's goal in tutoring students in robotics was to allow students the education, or to give students the educational tools they needed to self-actualize and become the best versions of themselves, because they went and they taught at a school where that wasn't possible. So the student themed their entire application portfolio around authenticity, which really linked all these things that seemed different together. So what I would suggest to you is find common threads, which are often your own motivations and goals, that run through all the activities. Often one of them can be service. As you can see, a lot of this is volunteer. That's pretty standard that students like to volunteer a lot, and volunteering is a great way to get hours in something that is kind of hard to get into. Like robotics, for example, it's kind of hard to find an internship in robotics, but you can certainly teach a robotics course, which still gives you that spike, okay? So that's another kind of insider hack, is you should just be volunteering as much as you can. If you can't figure out how to do something, just do it for free, and all of a sudden, all the doors open. I'll just put it that way. Kind of similar to this would be your own motivations and goals. Just think about it. Why do you want to volunteer? Why do you want to do chemistry? what's linking this? Because at the end of the day, a lot of the college process is figuring out who you as a person and what motivates your behavior. And that might seem a little scary. Most people don't want to think about that, which is totally fine. But you have to think about it a little bit. Or even if you don't want to think about it, you have to come up with a narrative for it. Number 3 would be time commitment. Everyone, I have an announcement. I'm planning to post this in June. So guess what? It's still summer. Do you know what you have a lot of in the summer? Time. So you know what you should be doing? Things. With that, time. Because you can add a lot of hours to basically any extracurricular or any passion project, which we'll get to in a second. Hours can really help you create a spike out of an activity that might seem average or well-rounded. For example, if you have all A's and you're also on, let's stick with the robotics. You're also on the robotics team and you have 10 hours on the robotics team per month or whatever. It's the summertime. Guess what you're going to do? Spend 30 hours a week on robotics. That seems kind of crazy, but there's ways to self-educate. There's ways to engage. Just find a way to engage. It can be literally anything. Just increase your hours. Not only will your knowledge go up, your hours will go up too, which you report. So now you have a spike all of a sudden just from the time commitment. Now, that being said, you need to have an activity to do that spike in is the only problem there that you might have if you really have no extracurriculars. But at this point, you should have a few. So just choose one and pack a bunch of time into it. This also applies if you have a job. Try to log some more hours. When you talk about your job, this will not help you create a spike, but it just will increase your extracurricular score if you log hours. And try to remember your responsibilities and keep track of them and brag about them when you apply. So let's get into the passion project. This is super linked to time commitment because basically what you should be spending your time on, if it's not going to be a regular activity, would be kind of a passion project. So what a passion project would mean is essentially undertaking a project, a study of something, research, a paper. You have to produce a product. You have to have a product.
There's product here.
Even if it's just a paper that you don't publish, it'd be great if you could publish it, but you don't need to, etc. Something like that. A program, a project, a product, whatever. You have to have one. You create one and you add hours, all of a sudden that's a spike. Let's just say you're well-rounded. And let's take into account, you did well in English. Sudden, you spend 20 hours a week at the library this summer researching, using archives. All of a sudden, not only do you have something great to write about on your extracurricular essay, you have a spike here. Look at this liberal arts student. And maybe don't apply as English, apply as Comp Lit. Or if you speak any other language, apply as a major in that language / region. I'm thinking Harvard had like a romantic or Germanic languages like department, which is way more specific than English. You could also do South American studies, East Asian studies, South Asian studies, whatever. Use your language, if you have it, to your advantage there. Your passion project could also be volunteering based, which again, you can link to basically anything. So what I would do is kind of look at your portfolio and find where you have the closest thing to a spike. So that would be a spike student, but you're well-rounded, and then you have like a blip. All right, find this, bring it up, and you can have your passion project be your crown. Do we have any TXT stands in the audience? Any MOAs? You've heard this word before. That's how to create a spike as an average student. As always, leave any questions or comments in the comments. And also don't forget to enter my giveaway. At 500 subs, I'm going to do a free portfolio review for a student. Please enter.